Chapter 6 Vyasa. Before her marriage to Shantanu, Satyavati met a sage named Parasha. Their union created a son who they called Vyasa. Like his father, Vyasa was a great sage who had omniscient and spiritual powers. The kingdom needed an heir, and since Bhishma was bound by his oath to never take the crown and to remain celibate, Satyavati summoned Vyasa to help with their predicament. Vyasa had promised his mother that he would always be on hand to assist with any problems she may have. Satyavati explained the situation with the death of her son before he could produce heirs with his two queens. As the half-brother of the king, under the current circumstances, Vyasa had the right to produce an heir to the kingdom with the queens. He agreed to perform the duties as required. Ambika was sent to Vyasa's chambers, but Vyasa appeared to her as an extremely hideous man. Ambika closed her eyes in horror all through the blessing ceremony. Afterward, Vyasa said to his mother, Ambika would produce an heir that was healthy and powerful, but he would be blind from birth. Then, the second queen, Ambalika, was sent to Vyasa's chambers. When Ambalika saw Vyasa, she turned pale white in terror. After the process was complete, Vyasa informed his mother, Ambika will have a valiant son, but he will be pale white in appearance. Unsatisfied with the situation, Satyavati instructed Ambika to return to Vyasa's chambers to get blessed again. She was determined that they should be a normal, complete child with no handicaps. However, Ambika would not subject herself to Vyasa again. She dressed her handmaiden in her clothes and sent the handmaiden to Vyasa in her place. Unlike the two queens, the handmaiden performed her duties without fear and with detachment. After the blessing ceremony, Vyasa said to her, You will produce a son who will be wise, artful, diplomatic, and a man of great learning. He will free you of your life as a handmaiden. Vyasa, his duties completed, then disappeared. The first son born to Ambika was named Dhritarashtra, and he was blind. The second son, born to Ambalika, was named Pandu, as he was pale white in color. The third, flawless son, born to the handmaiden, was named Vidura. When the boys came of age, Pandu was appointed as king, although he was the second son. Dhritarashtra was not thought capable since he was blind. Vidura was appointed prime minister. Dhritarashtra was arranged to marry the princess Gandhari of Gandhar. When Gandhari learned her husband-to-be was blind, she chose to wear a blindfold from that day forth, so that she experienced the world as her husband did. Pandu was married to Princess Kunti of the Yadava dynasty. However, Bhishma motivated for Pandu to take a second wife from the Madhura kingdom. This would further strengthen the empire. So, Pandu took Princess Madhuri as his second wife. Kunti, like the queens before her, had a secret. One that in the years to come would shake the kingdom of Hastinapur to its very core. Chapter 7 Kunti. When Kunti was a young girl, her household was visited by a great sage. Kunti cared for the sage and tended to his every need. The sage was so impressed by her that before he left, he gifted her with a mystical mantra. When recited, this mantra would allow her to summon any celestial deity to bless her with a child. Kunti was curious to know if the mantra worked, and with childish abandon used the mantra to summon the sun god, Surya. As the sage promised, Surya appeared and gifted her with a child. The child glowed in the sun and had a golden chainmail across his chest. After the wonderment had subsided, Kunti found herself terrified. She was an unmarried young girl. She had no idea how to take care of a child, and frightened about what the elders may say. In a panic, Kunti placed the baby in a basket and sent it floating down the river Ganga, praying for a kind soul to find the baby and raise it as their own. Now, Kunti was the queen of Hastinapur, along with Madhuri, the king's second wife. When King Pandu returned from his mission of conquest, he took his 2 queens on a trip into the forest, leaving Dhritarashtra as the king in charge. One day, when Pandu was hunting in the forest, he shot his arrow into the bushes where he thought he spotted a deer. Unfortunately, his arrow hit a mystical rishi who was with his wife. With his dying breath, the rishi cursed Pandu that the moment he touched his wives with desire, he would instantly fall to his death. Pandu was devastated. He had not yet produced any heirs. He decided to remain in the forest and sent word that Dhritarashtra's duties as king would be extended. Pandu discussed their situation with Kunti, and she revealed to him the mantra that the Guru had bequeathed her. Pandu was excited to hear this news, and urged her to make use of the mantra to create their heirs. "Which deity should I invoke first, my lord?" asked Kunti. "Invoke Dharma, the god of justice," replied Pandu. "This will ensure that our oldest son will be blessed with righteousness." Kunti chanted the mantra, and Lord Dharma appeared and gifted her with a son. They named him Yudhishthira. Pandu wanted more children and asked her to invoke Vayu, the lord of the wind, so their second son would be mighty and powerful. After Kunti's mantra, Vayu gifted her with a son who they called Bhima. Pandu was ecstatic. For his third son, he wanted a child that would be the most glorious and potent among men. For this child, Kunti invoked Lord Indra, the king of the heavens, and Arjuna was born. Pandu then asked Kunti to teach the mantra to Madri so that she may also have children. Kunti agreed. Upon learning the mantra, Madri invoked the Ashvins, the twin deities. The twins gifted to her were named Nakula and Sahadeva. And the 5 children came to be known as the Pandavas. Meanwhile in Hastinapur, Gandhari learned of the children born to Kunti and Madri, and she desperately desired children of her own. Chapter 8. Gandhari. When Gandhari heard of the children that were born to Kunti and Madri, she desperately desired to have children of her own. It had been many years, but she had not fallen pregnant. As if in answer to her prayers, Vyasa appeared in Hastinapur, desiring food and shelter. Gandhari cared for him herself, tending to his every need. Vyasa was impressed by her devotion and asked her to name her reward. "I desire 100 strong sons," Gandhari declared. "And so, you shall have it," replied Vyasa, and then disappeared. Gandhari fell pregnant shortly thereafter, but after 2 years of maternity, she had still not given birth. One day in frustration, she hit her stomach with a stick and immediately went into labor. Her handmaidens were horrified at the result. Gandhari had delivered a solid mass of flesh, like an iron ball, not a child. Heartbroken, Gandhari instructed them to get rid of it. Just then, Vyasa appeared. "Stop," he commanded. "I will prepare what needs to be done." Vyasa prepared 100 vats and broke up the mass of flesh into each of the jars. As he did this, Gandhari desired a daughter as well. Reading her mind, Vyasa informed her that the last bit of flesh would produce her daughter. Sometime later, the first son emerged from the vat and wailed as his lungs filled with air. Outside Hastinapur, the wild animals all brayed in response. Violent winds and fierce fires broke out around the kingdom. This son was named Duryodhana. Shortly after him, his 99 other brothers emerged from their vats, and lastly, their sister, who was named Dushala. These children would come to be known as the Kauravas. Dhritarashtra was grateful to have heirs of his own, but Yudhishthira, the son of King Pandu, would be next in line to the throne, and not his son Duryodhana. Dhritarashtra's jealousy and resentment would fuel a rivalry that would lead to a shattering collision between the Pandavas, the sons of Pandu, and the Kauravas in the years to come. Thank you for watching so far. I hope you enjoyed.
If you did, please hit the like button. If you're new here, please subscribe. This will ensure that more people can find this resource. Click the notification button so that you can be the first to know about new uploads. And please do comment below. I'll do my best to reply to any questions. Thank you.